The Jaguars have had a strong offense for most of the season, while the Saints have been struggling offensively in recent games, and this game just magnified their issues, I thought. Let's dive right into this episode. The Jags won Thursday Night Football with a score of 31-24. Initially, the whole game appeared to be a runaway game for the Jags, but it did come down to one missed catch for the Saints. Tough one for Foster Moreau. He'll bounce back. He's been through a lot this year, and just a tough situation for him. It was nice to see his teammates kind of consoling him there, but tough break for him there. It's funny how like a lot of people were talking about Trevor supposedly being injured with a sprained knee, but I don't know. He looked pretty damn good to me. He was running down the field. He was, carrying the ball really well. I mean, he had a great 44-yard pass to Kirk for a touchdown, which I think basically sealed the game. And then, Kirk had another touchdown, ETN had 2 touchdowns this game. But in the beginning, like they drove down the field in 10 plays, and ETN gets that first touchdown. So I thought overall, like the Jags look really good. I mean, they look solid, and I think if they start to just have a level of consistency in their offense and just the way that they play, I think they could really be a threat this season. Because, I mean, for a large part of this game, it didn't seem like there was anything going on for the Saints, right? It looked like Carr was frustrated with his receivers. There were some missed routes or the routes that were, misrun and missed catches. And there was just a lot of miscommunication, it seemed like. There was not a flow to their game. And there was frustration. I could see Carr getting really animated on the sidelines. And look, I don't know if it was more on Carr's fault or his receiver's fault, probably a combination of both. But I don't know. It was one of those things where the fans, like you could tell they're getting frustrated. And towards the end of the third quarter, they finally got momentum there and things started to pick up a little bit. A nice touchdown by Taysom Hill, which allowed them to tie the game. So there was just some trouble and issues there with the Saints offense. And I think this whole year really so far, I mean, it's pretty early in the year still, but the year so far, it's been like, I think a lot of the issues that the Saints have been kind of slowly, having, and it's been a little under the radar. It kind of all boiled up to a point in this game where, you saw it, right? Those just routes that weren't run properly. They weren't on, Carr wasn't on the same page as his receivers. So it's one of those, if you're a Saints fan, it's one of those troubling things to kind of figure out and how they're going to do moving forward. But I think one of the positives, though, if you're a Saints fan, is the defense. I thought they did a pretty good job, right? They did a good job of holding the line in the second half. The Saints defense has been a strong point for the team for most of the season. I think they rank 5th in passing yards, and they hold their opponents this year so far for most of their opponents to 20 points or less in a lot of their games. So, I mean, if you look back, though, to last week's game against the Texans, I think that's when you started to see a little of the, turmoil on offense, right? You started to see like the lack of production, especially in that red zone, which is huge. They struggled a lot in that red zone. And in this game, their third down conversion was only 3 of 18, which is definitely not ideal if the Saints want to have success here. Their division is supposedly, to start the year, their division was supposed to be for them. It was supposed to be theirs for the taking, and definitely has not turned out that way. And sometimes it's weird, right? How funny, like, that seems to always be the case every year. It's like you always think it's going to be one team that's going to be the one to take the lead, and then they struggle, and you have some other team come up and have success compared to the team that everyone thought was going to do well. And I don't know, like if Derek Carr continues to struggle, and the Saints can't find success, like it's going to get pretty loud about Jameis Winston being put in there. He's a backup QB now, and like it's a tough situation, right? Because you got to consider Derek Carr's contract and all the hype surrounding him coming into this team and again winning the division and being the guy. He had a good amount of success with the Raiders last year until he was basically kicked out. But I think based on his time with the Raiders, he has like spurts of like showing good play, and I feel like it's a big combination right now of things not going well for them, and they just can't get on that same page. And when that happens, it's you don't find success. Like in this league, it doesn't matter sometimes what your contract was or whatever. It's like if you're not producing or not getting wins, then you could be replaced. But and Jameis Winston is no, he's not some rookie schmuck, right? He had some good success over the years. I mean, granted, he did have the highest interception rate in the same year that he had, I think, the highest touchdowns. But like it's worth a shot, right? It's worth a shot to see if Carr continues to struggle. I feel like you look at the other people on the team, other guys. I think Kamara had a great game this one. I think Michael Thomas came up with a couple good plays and a couple good catches here and there. But again, it's like waiting for everyone to get on the same page and just the Saints to have a lot of the success that people expected them to have. But I think, look, in all honesty, though, if you think about it, and now as I think about it now, it's like whenever a team goes all in on a QB, like they did with Derek Carr. Look at the Broncos with Russell Wilson. Even years back, where a little bit with like Philip Rivers, where just in general, whenever a GM, the front office decides to go with a guy like Derek Carr or whatever, or Kirk Cousins, regardless if the team's struggling, I think it's not actually often. I feel like that they pull the plug on the QB first, right? They're gonna try to do other things, and then if after the other adjustments don't work, then they'll decide to switch up the QB. So I think probably for now, as I think about it, I could be wrong, and maybe Saints fans out there who probably have a better handle or a better idea of the pulse of the team and the pulse of where the fan base is. Let me know what you think in the comments if you think Derek Carr is going to be the guy for the foreseeable future. Not if you want him to be, but if you think he is going to be based on the decisions that the front office of the Saints has made over the years. I think it's hard, right? You've had Drew Brees as like this foundation, like he is the constant in that team for so long that like when you have new personnel come in, it's hard to just imagine that like you'd have a quarterback carousel. So I think like I think he's going to be the guy for the foreseeable future, unless something really drastic happens and they just have zero success. But on the other hand, the Jaguars have improved to a 5-2 start. I think it's a little bit concerning, not too much, but just a little bit concerning that in this game and the last game, they almost had their lead slip away against stronger teams like the Niners and the Titans. Those guys are coming up on the schedule. They can't let these leads slip away if they happen to get a lead against those teams anyway. Like they can't let it slip away because good teams will capitalize on the mistakes that they make or lack of offense in a complete four quarters. But I think this game they hung in there and they came out strong and again like the connection with Trevor has with his team, with whether it's ETN, Calvin Ridley, some games and whatever, like they have a really really good thing going on with the Jags, and they're an exciting team to watch. I'm pulling for them to have success, especially coming off of a year last year that they had, and just to build upon that and have Trevor be the QB that everyone expected him to be, and we all hope he does become. It should be a fun season if you're a Jags fan. And look, 5-2, definitely not bad at all to start the year off. It's still young. I mean, still a really early season right now, but I think with the way when the Jags play on their game and they're rolling, they're a really really good team. And I don't know if people give them enough credit. I think people just still like a little bit like how the people look at the Lions now. I think people looked at the Jags like that a year ago, where it's like they're still the Jags and they won't do too well or whatever. But I think now they're starting to get that notoriety of being a team that you can't take lightly, and good for them. Definitely pulling for them to find success. But overall, I thought that this was an exciting Thursday night football game. Past couple of weeks, it's been not fun primetime games. But I will say though, initially though, I think probably the first half it was kind of boring. Looked like it was going to be a blowout, but it turned out to be a good one. So it came down to just one missed catch, and Jaguars secured the win. And we'll see where they go from there. We'll see how the Saints regroup from here. I think that they're going to really have to start clicking on offense, and if they don't, they're going to start to feel the heat a little bit, not just from their fans, but from management, and with the trade deadline coming up, we'll see what moves will be made, if any, by the Saints if they need to. But overall, pretty good game, and we'll see what happens from here with both teams. But that's it. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more videos. I've been your host, Enrique Aledius, and this has been Aledius Sports Talk. Catch you guys later.